Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, hello. It's me, Tab, and Toks today.
Hi. I'm so nervous.
You should not be nervous. Toks has been on Patreon lots now.
I know, but this is like the
real deal.
Yeah, like I'm such a huge fan that and it's funny because you've seen me perform live. Like I can do that, no problem. But this, I'm so nervous. I don't want to mess up.
She's on television, y'all. That is like big time. And she's nervous about this podcast. That's so funny. I have been waiting for this because Toks actually wanted to tell the story, and that's amazing. Also, I wanted to tell you all, if you aren't on Patreon, we just did a dissecting of the Ruby Frankie story.
Yeah.
And our next one, Toks, is going to be on Sherry Papini, and you guys know we are obsessed with that case. And I started watching last night. Have you started watching it?
No, not yet. Because my mother's dog passed away, so things got like kind of rearranged time wise. But I can't wait. She's that bananas. That one bananas.
Yes. Just wait until you start watching this.
Oh my God.
You guys, you have to watch it. It's on, what is it on? Max? Yes.
Don't remember. My brain.
I think it's on Max.
I'm going to start watching tonight because my husband watches these things with me. And it's kind of great because by comparison, I seem completely normal after he watches these things with me. Well, like, yeah, see what you could have married?
I know. I always try to do that, even with friends. I'm like, do you see how they were with their husband? I don't do that to you.
I am perfection by comparison. Okay.
The summer's been crazy, by the way. I'm going to tell you, I did. I was in my studio doing a recap for The Alternate this weekend. And my daughter, I have a second floor. I look out, I'm in the middle of actually recording on camera, and I see her and her friends on my roof looking through. They don't know where they are in the house, right? So they have no idea what window they're looking at. They come and look straight at me.
Immediately now.
They immediately have I scream. I'm like, what is going on? Oh, we're just playing hide and seek on the roof.
Oh, we're just on our way to the emergency room because we fell off the roof.
What am I going to do? This is just the start.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, listen, she's been real good so far. So maybe she just needs to be a little rebellious for a little while, get it out of her system.
I know. My girlfriend's like, but she's such a good kid. I'm like, she is such a good kid. So, and obvious, she could be drinking alcohol or running on my roof. Which one would I want?
Yeah. And you could have the kind of kid where it's like you look outside and you're going, what are you doing? Or you could have the kind of kid where you're like, oh, God, he's on the roof again. All right.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where I'm going.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Hey, who knows? Maybe she'll do something where she has to walk around on roofs. Maybe she's going to be an amazing architect or something. Who knows?
You know what she asked me actually the other day, what she wanted to do? She sees these sky towers for the airplanes because we live kind of close to the airport. And she's like, hey, who changes all those light bulbs? Because that's what I would want to do. She has this, she's a pole vaulter. So she has this need to be high in the air, which is exactly opposite of me. I am terrified of heights. It scares the bejesus out of me.
I mean, you know me, I'm not terrified of heights, but I would rather have both feet flat on the ground. The ground. Yeah. You could tell her she can go to business school and get a really beautiful corner office on the 66th floor of some building.
Totally. Yes. I should take her to... I should actually take her to Spotify. That office is in New York. It looks right over the Statue of Liberty. It's all the way. I think it's at the 86th floor or something crazy. She would love that.
There we go.
And that's a good job to work there.
Yeah, she could start producing your show or something.
Oh, yes.
Nepotism. Let's do it.
I'll start her on that now, actually.
A little helping hand. I like the way you've rearranged your studio. Did you rearrange it?
Thank you. Yes. Remember last time when we were talking, and I said I've got to change it up because I was doing the green screen.
I love it, and I see my favorite product up on the shelf there.
Yes,
that I give to all my friends. All my friends are like, "What are you doing with your skin?" Because I almost never wear makeup, and unless I'm working, and I just the next time I see them, I hand them a bottle, and they're like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "It's pretty good, right?"
That's so good. So if you're not watching us on YouTube, then you wouldn't know. But my studio changed and I have the 5 Crimes products. And if you guys are interested, you can go to 5crimes.com. That's FIVE crimes.com. And you can get the amazing, the serum is really the best.
The face serum and the hair serum, literally nothing like them on the market.
I know.
Nothing.
It's so true.
And I'm speaking as someone who lost 50% of her hair during chemo. And it helped me grow my hair back. So,
did you ever do the cold capping?
I did do the cold capping, which is why I only lost 50%.
Yeah.
I kept enough of it to look halfway decent, which was good for, like auditioning. Like I auditioned for Frasier while I was doing chemo. So yeah, so it was, I was able to keep enough of it to look normal, but it was really long. It was like more than halfway down my back. And at a certain point, I did have to chop it all off because it was like I was starting to look like a weird old hippie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am a weird old hippie, so I don't need to also look like an old hippie. That's just too much weird old hippie for everyone.
And the cold capping is super hard, isn't it?
Yeah. It's fairly painful. If you can get through the first 2 caps, because what they do is they change it every 20 minutes. It's like fresh, dry ice every 20 minutes for 8 hours. And if you can get through the first 2 caps, your head is so numb you cannot feel anything. But there are a lot of people who do it once and are like, no, thank you.
Yeah. I follow this girl on Instagram and she was doing it and then she was like, I can't do it anymore. Like
it's a lot.
It's too.
You have to have either really good willpower or really high pain tolerance or both. Preferably both.
Yeah, probably both. Yeah. All right. I cannot wait till hear what we're talking about because I have absolutely no idea.
Yep.
So let's get into it.
The only thing you know is that, like you, they honeymooned in Africa.
That's right. I do know that.
So this is the story of Anni and Shrien Devani. Now, this story, it begins like an absolute fairy tale, but it ends like a horror story, as most of these do. And I'm going to kind of take some little, sidebars for things that I think are interesting. So Anni was born in Sweden in 1982 to parents of Indian descent. The names are Vinod and Nilam. And they came to live in Sweden because there were tens and tens of thousands of Indian families lived in Uganda just before the 80s, because during British colonial rule in East Africa, the British brought many, many Indians, primarily Gujaratis. That's one of the major ethnic groups, like you would have like Punjabis or Kashmiris or Tamils. So they brought them to Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania in the late 1800s and early 1900s to use as laborers. They built the Ugandan railway. And so many of them stayed on afterwards and ended up themselves being Africans because they were there for many, many generations. And so they become their own prosperous community in Uganda. And so by the 1970s, there were a very small population in Uganda, but they were also very, very successful in commerce and industry. And so that bred resentment. And in 1972, Uganda's then president, Idi Amin, issued a decree that all Asians had 90 days to leave the country or else. So they had to pick up with whatever they could take and just go wherever they could go. So her family was lucky enough to get refuge in Sweden. And that's where they rebuilt their lives. And that's where Anni grew up. And she had siblings. She loved Bollywood, as most of us who grew up watching Bollywood do. And she becomes a product designer in Sweden. Now, Shrien Devani, her husband-to-be, his family had a very similar history. His father, Prakash, immigrated to the UK from Kenya, and his mother's family were among those who were forced to leave Uganda. And I don't know if you know anything about Idi Amin, but that man absolute monster, even to his own people. So anyway, they resettle in Bristol, where Prakash, who was a chemist by profession and education, built a successful business. It's still around today. It's called PSB Healthcare. It's family run. It's very lucrative. They do they do luxury care homes and retirement communities for older people, and they are loaded. They're still in business today, and they are well known in the industry. So anyway, the traditions and the histories and the values of these families are very, very similar. So they meet in London through friends in 2009, and immediately they're drawn to each other. It feels like fate. They're like love at first sight. They want to spend as much time as they can together. Luckily, Sweden and England are not too far apart, so they're flying back and forth. And he would take her on the most amazing luxury holidays. He just really wined and dined her. And then there's a night where she's in London, and he's like, "Oh, let's go to Paris for the night."
No.
So
let's jaunt over.
Yeah, you want to go to Paris for dinner? And that's what they did. He took her to the Ritz for dinner on a private plane.
Okay.
And one of the courses was a $32,000 ring.
Oh.
On a bed of roses. Yeah. $32,000 engagement ring, which
I also got engaged in Paris.
Did you?
I did.
Please tell me the story.
But not with a $32,000 ring, unfortunately. Not on a private airplane, and not on a bed of roses. But it was very romantic. It was on the Pont des Arts bridge, and my husband bought us 2 beers from, the guy that was walking by that sells the beers on the side, and he proposed right there. Yeah. It was really cute. He
That's so romantic.
He had a poem book, and he actually bound a book that had poems in it. He put his own in there, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to read this poem out of this book." And it was like you didn't even know it was like, his.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was
romantic.
Really sweet. It was.
My
really
Sean proposed to me under scaffolding behind NYU in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah. And luckily it was not a $32,000 ring, because I think we would have been mugged.
Right?
Yeah. But, for us it was love at first sight too, so, whatever. Yeah. So anyway, so their wedding is held in October 2010 in Mumbai. And so my best friend growing up was Indian. And so I was immersed in the culture in Nigeria. And I think it is probably the most beautiful culture on this planet. And for that reason, I wanted desperately to marry an Indian man. And I was very much expecting to have my 4-day Indian wedding.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I want to go to an Indian wedding so bad.
They are amazing. They are literally the most fun thing you'll ever go to. And when I went to my best friend's, hers was in Ghana, and she went to Mumbai, and she brought back all sorts of saris and dresses for me. I mean, the most beautiful things that you have ever seen. I mean, everyone is just celebrating. Everyone is so happy. It's so joy-filled, and it's so good. It's so good. So that's what they have, Anni and Shrien. They have this amazing fairy tale wedding, and it's beautiful and extravagant, and I'm sure you can imagine it. So after the wedding, they fly to South Africa for their honeymoon, and they go on safari in Kruger National Park, and then they go to Cape Town on November 12th. So they check into the 5-star Cape Grace Hotel, which is located in the heart of the city's
I've also been there.
Have you?
On my honeymoon.
This is crazy.
Who are these people?
What?
Yes.
Ooh, I'm really glad your honeymoon didn't go like their honeymoon, though, because shit's about to hit the fan, let me tell you.
Okay, no. Thankfully, mine did not hit the fan. But I did stay at the Cape Grace Hotel.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it as beautiful as
it
described?
It is. It's so magical. It is. I did not want to go to South Africa for my honeymoon. My husband had this in his mind, and I was like, yeah, I was thinking Hawaii. I was not thinking like this adventure, right? But I did not want to leave. Like, I loved South Africa so much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I listened to a couple of podcasts that told this story, and I wanted them to be as like based in the culture as possible. So they were both South African podcasts, and one of them is called Thunder Noodle. It's two girls like just messing about. It's not. Listen if you want, but one thing that they kept saying, they're like, why would you come to South Africa for a honeymoon? What are you thinking? It was so funny. They were like, why? It's like, okay.
It's funny when like people think that, right? And then you're like, but when you go for vacation, you do all the things that are the best of the city.
Yeah, and I mean, most Africans, when they go somewhere beautiful to, relax within Africa, they go to South Africa. Nigerians do all the time, go to South Africa. So it's very beautiful there, and there's so much to do. Unfortunately, it's also very dangerous.
Did these guys go on a hike? Because I also went on a hike over there.
No, they didn't get to that part, unfortunately. Yeah, the second night that they were there, well, let me tell you a little bit about Cape Town. It's known, as you know, for its dramatic landscapes and wine country, and, amazing restaurants, amazing food, beautiful stores, like just like fantastic. But it's also known for its carjackings, which they call hijackings. And in this year, 2010, South Africa reported over 14,000 carjackings.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And at that time, Cape Town's crime rate was amongst the highest in the world. And wealthy residents, in Nigeria, same thing. You live behind huge, high walls. Like, the walls that you're allowed to have, like here in LA, are like, 6 to 8 feet. I'm like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, your kid could pole vault over one of those, I'm like, that's, in Nigeria, they're like, like 15-foot walls. They've got like razor wire on them. And I think it's the same in Cape Town. And because it's so difficult to get into the houses, the hijackings are what they do, because the car is an easier target. So there's that. And then also, if they can tell it's a tourist, they will go for the tourists first. Yeah. So I think you see where this is going. On the evening of November 13th, Shrien asked a driver that they used previously. They got him at the airport and kind of like, he liked him, swapped info, and so called him again to take them out. So the guy already knew who they were. His name is Zola Tongo, to take them to dinner. And this guy's a part-time driver, and he moonlights with his own vehicle to earn extra income. And that night, he picks them up at 7:30, and they head out for a romantic dinner. And they'd originally booked a very, very upscale, super fancy schmancy winery, but they changed plans because they mentioned to this guy that they wanted a more authentic experience of Cape Town. And so he takes them to a place called the Surfside Restaurant in Strand, which is, it's still very nice. It's just more relaxed and a little bit more authentic to South Africa. So they have a fantastic time, a fantastic dinner. And around 10:45, they get back in the taxi. So Annie apparently wanted to see a more authentic side of Cape Town as they drove back home. So Tongo offers to take them through Gugulethu, which is one of the city's largest townships, and off they go. And the townships are where the more impoverished population lives, and that is quite a large population. In most countries in Africa, it's the situation that countries were left in by the colonists. In Nigeria, it's the same thing. There's almost no middle class, very small upper class, and a very big impoverished class. Yeah. And there is a lot of classism as well. It's pretty disgusting. But anyway, so they are driving around for a while looking at stuff, which is also a little weird to like just be driving around kind of gawking at people. But they're stopped at an intersection by two armed men who block them in the vehicle. One kind of like shoves the driver over, takes the wheel, and the other guy jumps in the back seat with Anni and Shrien. So eventually they just throw the cab driver out. And then for the next 45 minutes, the couple is driven around through the dark streets of Cape Town, and they don't know what is going to happen to them. So Shrien takes Anni's engagement ring and he puts it in the middle of the seats. Right? And they stop the car in a very desolate area. They turn around and like, give us all your stuff, blah, blah, blah. And they are giving their stuff. And then they're like, you know, they know that there's got to be a wedding ring somewhere in there, you know, an engagement ring. They're like, where is it? And he's like, no, she doesn't wear it out. She doesn't wear it out. There's a disagreement between Shrien and these guys. And they either push or drag, not certain, him out of the car. And they drive off with Anni. Yeah. So Shrien is left to walk around the township in the middle of the night, barefoot, desperately knocking on doors. And I mean, listen, it's the middle of the night and some strange guy you don't know is like knocking on your door in the township.
The door.
No way. So he finally finds someone to let him in, and they call the police. And so the police come. They interview him. They start looking for Anni. And the next morning, the police receive a call from a resident in Alita Park. And this person says that a silver Volkswagen has been sitting idle overnight, parked in an open field. So they go to the car and they find Anni Devani inside. She has been shot once, point blank. The bullet went through her hand. So obviously she was trying to shield herself. Yeah. And, I mean, if there's one saving grace, the coroner said that she would have gone very quickly, where the bullet hit. But she bled so much that the upholstery was soaked with blood, and the upholstery was so soaked with blood that it had dripped onto the tarmac, onto the asphalt. So now the guy who called and reported the car said that Anni's underwear was down around her ankles, which to me would indicate a sexual attack.
Yeah.
And in the coroner's report, there's a huge bruise indicated on her thigh, which they say is a sign of a struggle, but absolutely not a sign of sexual assault, and that there's no evidence of sexual assault, which a lot of people do not believe. A lot of people are like, that's pattern, how is that possible? So authorities go ahead and they say, well, that's what happened, and we're going to close this case real quick. So they're looking into it quickly. They label it a botched hijacking, and they find a palm print on the car, and it led them to, I'm not going to be able to say this right, it's Olile Mngeni. I'm never going to be able to do that again. A 26-year-old man with a criminal record. Come again? Yeah, I believe that's a Osa name. I did a play a very long time ago that took place in South Africa. So we had to learn how to do that, to say the names.
Wow, that's
beautiful
amazing.
Names.
You did that?
Yeah.
You learned
I mean, there was a time where it just flowed out of my mouth. But
oh, wow.
Alas, no more. So Mngeni is arrested, and he's found in possession of all of the items stolen from the Devanis, which are Giorgio Armani wristwatch, a white gold and diamond bracelet, her handbag, her BlackBerry mobile phone. And the total of these items, what I found was that it totaled approximately 90,000 South African rand, which is just under $5,000, which doesn't sound right to me. I would think, especially at that time, like a BlackBerry and a white and gold diamond bracelet and an Armani wristwatch would add up to more than that. But anyway, that's what it says. Engagement ring, not found anywhere. So anyway, this guy confesses, and soon after, two other men are arrested. Mzimawanda, hold on, I'm doing it. Mziwamadoda, Kwabe, and Tongo, the taxi driver.
Okay, I was wondering, I thought because, by the way, the taxi driver would have called the police right away.
Exactly.
And I'm like, why wasn't the police like aware when,
Yeah.
husband came.
When I first heard this case, I thought, well, okay, maybe, he's a local guy and he doesn't want to feel like he's responsible. He doesn't want anyone to think he's responsible for this, so he wouldn't call. But why wouldn't he call? Exactly. Yeah. So Tongo,
and it's his car.
And
he needs his car, which is his job.
That's his livelihood. So, exactly. And that's a big deal over there. Like, you're not getting another one very easily. So he claims the hijacking, Tongo, the driver, was not random. He alleges that Shrien Dewani hired him to arrange the murder of his wife.
The husband?
Mm-hmm. That's what he says. He says that Shrien offered him about 15,000 rand, which is about $2,200, to make it look like a hijacking. Yeah. And there is footage at the hotel of him the day after going down to give him an envelope.
No.
Which must have... Yeah. So here's another thing. Shrien originally told the police that the hijackers took Anni's super expensive £25,000 engagement ring. Pound is in the money, not the weight.
Yeah.
But then, days later, he calls the cops and he asks if the ring was found in the backseat. And they're like, wait, what? Like, first
what
you
are
said
you talking
that
about?
First you said it's gone, and then now you're okay. And he's like, no, I hid it between the seats. And there's like there's no explanation about the discrepancy at all, ever. So more things surface, very much like, what was it, Michael Peterson? Mm-hmm. There are reports that Shrien has secretly been active on gay dating sites. And not just gay dating sites, but sadomasochistic gay sites. Yeah, there's
like extra.
Yeah, there's one site where it's like a German escort, and like the tagline of the website is, "Are you ready to meet your German daddy?" I was like, no, I'm not. No, thank you. I don't.
Not
Thanks
today,
so
tomorrow, or ever. Thanks.
No, I'm good. And then this was so odd to me. A British parliamentary aide comes forward and says he's had multiple encounters with Shrien in a London fetish club, which I just thought it was, I mean, I know he's just an aide, but I thought it was so interesting that someone of that position
would come forward. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe, the only thing I can think is he thought that it was his ethical obligation, because maybe he thought that Shrien did have something to do with this, and this might be a reason. Because the prosecution, of course, argues that Shrien felt trapped in a marriage he didn't want with a woman he possibly never loved. And in his mind, it was an easy way out, because divorce in
that culture.
Yes, it brings shame on the family, and coming out would mean complete rejection from his family. So a lot of people say, oh no, but then he wouldn't have gotten married at all if he didn't want to be with her. But then some people are like, but that's the most perfect way to go ahead and lead your secret life, is to actually get married. Then your wife dies on your honeymoon and you're so distraught you never want to get married or date another woman again.
Yeah, I can actually see that. And and I have a really good friend who's also Indian. And she was funny story, because we just went out last week to have drinks, and we all just kind of went over our story on how we met our husbands. And she was like, well, I was, in my 20s and I wasn't married yet. And so it was an arranged marriage. Mm-hmm. And so I think it is, and I think it is it's a culture thing. Mm-hmm. And she was like, so I got to know my husband after we were actually married, because she was still in India and he was here in the United States. So she didn't even move here until after she was married.
And interestingly enough, a lot of these arranged marriages actually end up working out. Like they do.
Isn't
that interesting?
It's actually, they have a higher success rate of staying together than non-arranged marriage. Yeah.
It's so interesting to me. I come from a similar background, not as strict definitely as Indian culture, at least not most Nigerian families. Most Nigerian families, yes, they want you to marry a Nigerian. Yes, they want you to be a certain thing in your career, do a certain thing, go to certain schools. I was always outside the norm. So my dad was kind of like, well, so, so I was proposed to many times, and most of the guys would ask my dad beforehand and he'd expect me to say yes, and I would say no, and he'd be like, but, oh.
It's like, there's another one.
Yeah. And then I was engaged a couple times before I actually then got married. And that was hard as well. Like, there was a guy I stayed with for a couple years because I knew my parents liked him, and everyone was always like, when's the wedding gonna be? And I was like, I don't know. Oh. Yeah. So, I know that it's a thing that families get. My parents were panicked. They were absolutely panicked. I didn't get married till I was 39, and they were like, oh, you don't have a husband, you don't have children. I'm like, it's okay, just relax. And I found my guy. He's the perfect guy for me. So, if you're out there and you haven't found your perfect partner, they're out there somewhere.
They're out there. But so I think that he probably did feel this pressure to marry a woman, and then he marries her, but he doesn't have to off her.
Right.
Or does he? I mean,
I personally believe that he was involved in this. It's an opinion. This is alleged. I personally do believe that he was involved. And
some people don't believe it at all.
Some people absolutely do not believe it. Yeah, they're just like, he would never have bothered to get married then,
Yeah.
And I'm like, So, so where were we? We were at German Daddy. Nope. And then... and the parliamentary aid. Okay, so the prosecutors think that what I think. And in 2014, it took 4 years, but in 2014, Shrien Dewani was extradited to South Africa to stand trial. But the case against him, it just fell apart. The testimonies of Tongo and the other accused guys were like, everything was so contradictory. No one had just one story. Everybody kind of starts pointing the finger at each other. Then some people are saying, well, was this put to bed quickly because South Africa and Cape Town, like, tourism is their big thing.
Yeah.
So, like, did the police wrap this up quickly, maybe like beat up one of the guys to make him confess, and then be like, yep, it was these guys, and sorry, this never happens. We caught them, though. Everything's fine. As you were, please come and spend your money in Cape Town. And so there were just so many questions. There was more than beyond reasonable doubt. And the judge rules that the accounts are unreliable, and he dismisses the case, and Devani walks free.
What about the other guys?
The other guys were kept in prison, and one of them passed away from a brain tumor.
Okay.
And the other two, I believe, are still in prison.
Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of difficult to find current stuff about the case. The only other thing that I found was that in 2018, Shrien was dating a Brazilian man named Gledison Lopez Martins, who's a Brazilian photographer. But I couldn't find, at that point in 2018, they'd been together for about a year and a half, but I can't find anything else about it. But that's another thing. It's like, okay, well, now this was released in court as well, but it was released in court and my family was convinced that I loved my wife so much. So I get this sympathy, and so they're not as hard on me, and I can go ahead and live the life that I want.
But
more
now
openly.
I'm living as a gay man.
And Anni's family is still completely distraught. They believe
he did it.
Yes, it seems like, from what I can find, it seems like they believe he did it, but they also just want someone to reopen the case and go over everything again so that they can get some more answers. They just want answers, but no one's listening.
They're probably never going to get answers. I mean,
No, I doubt it.
No.
I doubt it.
Unless they want to talk to, the taxi cab driver themselves. Because he has the answers.
I think so, but at this point, there's so much contradiction. I mean, I would have gone through it, but it was so confusing that I ended up getting lost.
Yeah.
I ended up being like, wait, who said what? Okay, now this guy's saying that there was this guy, and this guy's saying it wasn't the driver, but now this guy's saying it was the driver, because apparently what happened is that the driver went to a receptionist at a hotel, a concierge basically, and said, do you know anyone who can do a hijacking for me? And the guy said yes. So it was like all these guys. It was like the receptionist, the two hijackers, and Tongo, and they're all pointing fingers at each other. Yeah. You know, and then all of a sudden the receptionist is like, oh, I know nothing about it. But before he had said, yes, he asked me for it and I came up with them. And then at one point, the two guys are like, yes, he came to us and asked us. And then it was, no, he didn't come to, you know, so they kept on completely turning round and round.
That's happening right at, we're recording on Monday.
Karen Reed.
The Karen Reed trial right now. They are right before we started recording. I was listening, and there is a woman, a police officer, who told two other police officers that she saw two people involved in the case that were there that night in the Sallyport with the car by themselves, and she thought it was strange. She said they were there alone by themselves. Isn't that strange? Well, they reported that, and all of a sudden she's like, actually, I was wrong. I retract my statement that I made, and I didn't actually see that.
Whoa.
She goes so far to like actually call like the FBI and tell them that she didn't see it, that she was wrong in her recollection. There's no way she could have actually seen that. But she said it. And she was like, yeah, but I was wrong.
But they're saying that I mean, a lot of people have said that police force is really crooked, right?
I know.
So she's probably being threatened in some way.
Yes. And they're asking her over and over, like, are you being threatened? And she's like, no. But is she going to say she's being threatened?
Of course
Absolutely not. She is a Boston police officer to this day. And she said on the stand at the very end, she finally was like, she said, they said, you know, are you telling the truth and that you didn't see this? And she goes, yes, my job depends on what I say right now. And that's like, what? If your job depends on you saying that you absolutely did not see these two officers in there, then now I don't believe you at all.
No, it's like that guy that was like in charge of the case before, the one who was making the disparaging comments. Yes. Yeah. And it's like how they won't bring him back. It's like, wait a minute, he's such a big part of the last one, and he was in charge of the case, but now he's nowhere to be found, and you're saying he's not in charge of the case?
Yeah.
Crooked.
It is so crazy. And I was sitting, I'm like, today is a really good day to watch that trial. They read all those text messages that Michael Proctor sent to his friends. Oh, it's
terrible. What an idiot.
He's a bad dude.
Yeah. He's a bad man. I have to tell you, Tabitha, I am, as you know, I'm a huge, huge fan of this podcast. But I'm so impressed with how you have taken lemons and you've made lemonade, like the sweetest, most wonderful lemonade. This Housewives is so good. All the people you're bringing on are so good. And you then were like, you know what? I'm going to do a second podcast too. And it's so good. You ladies are so great. You're doing such a good job. I'm enjoying it so much. Every now and then I fall a couple days behind because life, but I always catch up. Always.
Oh, that's so nice. That's like so sweet. Thank you. It has been it's been really crazy. And I haven't talked about it at all on the podcast at all, but it's one of those things where, you know, it happened quickly and I didn't know what to do, you know?
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you. So, and I thank you. Toks reached out and she was like, please, if you like, I'm like, yes, please. Like, seriously, you would come on to my podcast? That's like mind blowing. Yes, please.
I was like, can I
love
be a guest, please?
Yes. I'm like, any day, anytime, any day. And you've been such a joy.
Fun. It's been so fun. I loved the Ruby Frankie thing. That was whew.
Oh,
boy.
yes.
I don't know if people have watched that documentary, but
it's sad and terrifying
it's
and
nuts.
And things need to be done in that realm of just reporting child endangerment and then the Sherry Papini one is going to, you guys, it's told from her perspective.
What?
Yes.
Oh my. Okay, I'm starting tonight.
Yeah. It's told from her perspective, and
that's
now we're all supposed to believe her somehow.
Oh,
but so it's like kind of like that Casey Anthony one where Casey Anthony went and did her own, docu-series and people do believe Casey Anthony.
Can I tell you?
What? Did you feel bad for her for a second?
I don't feel bad for her. I don't feel bad for her because I don't think that what happened, I don't feel bad for her, but her father always came off to me as like a little bit of a
but did you watch the new one?
I didn't, but
we should do it because he did a polygraph on that one. We should do that one after.
But wasn't he a cop? Doesn't he know how to?
Well, I did think about that too. Yes, I do think you can sway a polygraph test, but I don't think
if you're a sociopath and you don't care. I know. You have no feelings. I think that she as well is a monster. Like, I don't think it changes. It doesn't change anything about what I feel about her.
No.
I think she's guilty and a monster.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree sometimes, so who knows?
Exactly.
But I believed him in his...
okay. All right, I've got to watch it. I should see it with my own two eyes. I listened to a recap of it, so yeah, I should.
And did they think that he was kind of BSing? But he is a cop.
They believed him. They believed him. But I was like, oh, no. It's like, childhood trauma is a real thing. And this guy's weird and creepy. No, but I don't know. I would really I would like someone to do some genetic testing. And because I don't know if, like, I got the feeling that there was some sort of incestuous thing happening.
Oh.
There. That's kind of the vibe I got. But let's do it. Let's do it for the Patreon.
Okay.
After this next one.
Yeah. We will. Oh my gosh. So this guy is now living back in England. So am I going to see him at CrimeCon?
Free as a bird? I don't think so. I think you're more likely to see him in Ibiza than than CrimeCon. Yeah,
that's so funny. I just was talking about Ibiza to somebody else today because my other girlfriend is going there, and she was like, "I want to go with her."
That's not for me. That's not for me.
It's like all partying, right?
It's all loud partying and like drinking and party drugs and
oh no, I feel like that was I've been having to stay up really late because my daughter has all her friends here, which I love. Like,
yes,
I love that they are here and it's safe and they are not drinking and out, But don't tell her, but her age, I was already having Boone's Farm, And so she's having wholesome fun on my roof. But,
oh God.
And I appreciate her coming and staying here. But I'm like, I can't go to sleep if they're all here. So
I get it.
I have now become a night owl.
Oh, no. You need your sleep.
I know.
You need your sleep. No, I'm the same way. If there's stuff going on, even my husband, he does this thing where he thinks he's going to stay up later than I am. And then he falls asleep on the couch probably 5 minutes after I go to bed. And then I'm just kind of lying there like, he's going to forget to turn the alarm on. He's going to forget to take the dogs out last thing at night. So I'm just like, can you just please just go to bed at the same time I go to bed? Like, let's just go to bed at the same time. And then I don't know what he's thinking because he gets up at 5 a.m. to exercise before work.
Wow, he does. Good job.
I know, right? I used to do that in my youth.
I did that a couple years ago and I actually loved it. But for whatever reason, I cannot do it anymore. I cannot get myself out of bed early.
It's because you have 3 children and a business.
Oh, maybe.
That's why. And you travel more than anyone I know. That's why.
I know. It's so true. That could be why.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law is always like, aren't you tired? Aren't you tired? Don't you need to take a break? Like,
yes, I do. Tell me when. Tell me when I get to take this break.
Yes.
Are you going to take my children?
Although the kids are growing so fast that I feel like I'm going to blink and they're all going to be in college or out of the house. And then I'm going to be sad and I'll be like, I can take a nap. Now I can take a nap whenever I want.
All day if you
So I
need
guess
to.
I'll just wait for then to actually sleep.
Oh no, please try to get some sleep before that. Please, ladies, get your sleep. It's important. I had horrible sleep deprivation for years after I gave birth. Almost 3 years. The most I would sleep was 4 hours. The very most I would sleep at night was 4 hours. I had anxiety that my kid was going to die. Like every night I was just like, oh God, he's going to suffocate. He's going to suffocate. I don't know why. It was just a thing that I had. And lo and behold, I got cancer and I was so healthy in every other respect. Didn't drink, didn't do drugs, didn't smoke, exercised every single day, ate very healthy, vegan, all of that. And I still got sick. And I think it was the sleep part. Yeah. The sleep part's just as important as everything else. So let your body rest.
Yeah.
It's got to rest and rebuild itself every day.
That's interesting that you had that fear too, because I also did. And I mean, until they were, over a year old, I was up all night just going and like touching their, like chest and making sure that they were breathing. And now I'm terrified of these teenage years. Like it's almost like I was good up until now that my daughter has like some freedom. It's terrifying. It's actually bringing me back to this like very anxious place.
Listen, these children are our organs. We grew them. And there are organs literally walking around outside our bodies. They're part of us. And it's just like I made you with my own body. And now you're just running around doing whatever you want.
I know. I think that's why you're like, there's a connection that you have. And it feels really, I mean, I think I have an extra anxiety-ridden body or something. So I need to figure out how to, I was thinking today I needed to talk to somebody about it because I don't think I should be as nervous as I am.
No, like you can find a psychiatrist to talk to. And I went on anti-anxiety meds finally. And full 180. I was so much more chill. I was sleeping well. And unfortunately I started them like 2 months before I got my diagnosis. But it changed everything for me.
And did you have to go off of them to do all the chemo and everything?
Nope, I was able to stay on them. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is maybe why I sailed through it just being like, I'm fine. Everyone else was freaking out. I was like, it's okay. I'll be fine.
Fine. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Don't forget to go to patreon.com/Housewives of True Crime to find us there. And then also, if you watch on or listen on Apple, you can just go to the Clink Clink Club. And on Spotify, it's Housewives of True Crime bonus content. And what else? Go to 5 Crimes if you want. And then
go to 5 Crimes, definitely.
Yeah. Actually, not if you want. If you actually want to feel and look good. And if you love this podcast, share it with a friend.
And rate and review.
All right. Clink, clink.
Clink, clink.